agricultural efficiency is very important, and it sounds like the See and Spray will really help with that. Julian, why don't you tell us what you're holding in your hand?
Yeah, so I'm holding in my hand a toy sprayer in real size. When these booms extend out, and on the other side too, they would be 130 foot wide. And of course, they're used to go apply broad herbicide, pesticides, nutrients to plants. The See and Spray technology is we're basically installing cameras every 2 feet on the boom, and those cameras are intended to, at high speeds like 12, 15 miles an hour, detect where there are weeds and where there's crops, and only spray the weeds in the case of herbicides. So it's really revolutionary technology that uses machine learning and artificial intelligence, and we've trained an algorithm to be able to detect, what is a weed and what is a plant, and therefore only apply where chemicals need to be applied.
So what kind of reduction in pesticides are you seeing with this?
You can imagine a field where there aren't that many weeds, but they're just kind of scattered all around. So you end up having to spray the entire field just because you want to cover it. Well, with this technology, you would only spray those very few weeds that are scattered across the field. In some of those fields, we can see up to 90% savings of herbicides.
That's huge, and it must be a huge cost savings as well as environmental savings.
Yeah, it's both. It's where everybody wins. I mean, that's the beauty with agriculture, right? Like, it's one of those spaces where doing more with less benefits both financially and from an environmental sustainability perspective.
Now, the other thing that is, I guess, would be somewhat related in terms of creating more efficient farms is what's behind you there, the autonomous tractor.
Yeah, that was our big announcement this year. Yeah, so you see fully autonomous tractor behind me. It's an 8R tractor with 6 sets of stereo cameras that have a 360-degree field of view. And with this tractor, literally, you take it to the field, you turn on your phone, you set it up to autonomous mode, and you say go. And you can just set it and forget it. You can basically leave it to do its job there and come back a few hours later when it's completed. There's several benefits to it. One, it's around the labor pressures that farmers have and being able to execute a job with those labor pressures. It's also able to execute that job to a high degree of quality consistently. Because you may have a really skilled operator that goes out there and does the job well, but after 12, 15, 18 hours of just being in that tractor and you get tired, maybe the quality of job suffers. The autonomy doesn't get tired. It's always going to do the job to the best of its ability, and that's how we've developed the algorithm.
Do you see it as a driverless vehicle, or will there always be a pilot?
No, this is a driverless vehicle, right? So that's the big announcement here. We've had self-steering vehicles for a long time. The big step change here is you do not have to be in the tractor. You literally set it, forget it, go do something else, go do another job, go spend time with your kids, go watch your kid's soccer game.
From a efficiency standpoint, do you see gains in efficiency in terms of just being more accurate and so forth?
Yeah, big time. So autonomy, the tractor doesn't get tired. And so it's always going to operate in that upper limit of productivity, and it doesn't have to slow down for a little while to take a break. It doesn't have to slow down to take a phone call and talk to somebody. It's just always at its max peak efficiency. And over hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of acres, that adds up to significant savings in productivity.
Now, what about the connectivity needs? What does it need between itself and, say, the farm?
Connectivity is so important to agriculture and so important to John Deere. Every time this tractor makes a pass, it's collecting data about what it's doing in the field. It's recording data about its own sort of machine health status. And ideally, if there's good connectivity, it's transmitting all of those data in real time so that the farmer at any point can view what's happening from their mobile phone. As we know, that's a challenge sometimes, having reliable connectivity in rural areas. And so, we do store the data on the tractor, on the vehicle, just in case there are, drops or dead zones of connectivity. But again, the more consistent and broad connectivity that we can have, the better and the more efficient these machines will be, and the more comfortable that farmers will feel in adopting technology that helps them do their operations.
So it sounds like if you lose that connectivity, it truly is autonomous.
Yeah, it truly is autonomous. So we're not relying on the connectivity. It's not like it's going to stop. But again, we ideally would have it, because when you have the connectivity, not only is it working autonomously, but it also gives the farmer the ability to check in on it whenever it wants.
And so from a mapping standpoint, do you have to pre-map the farm or something?
You have to have field boundaries established for the farm.
Okay.
That has to be done ahead of time. Now, most farmers that are using precision ag technology have already done this with their systems, so they already have a field boundary, and that's all you need, right? Once you have a field boundary, the tractor will be able to generate a path plan of what it needs to do and execute on that path plan.
And so it's still an internal combustion engine, right?
That's correct. We are still leveraging internal combustion engine. Fully electric tractors will get here someday. The thing that is challenging for a fully electric, battery electric tractor of this size is the math in terms of energy storage still doesn't quite add up. In automotive, you have the advantage that when you go to slow down, the car adds energy back into the battery. Well, as you know, as you're tilling a field, you never slow down. It's power to the ground nonstop, and that makes the math a little bit more difficult. So we will see fully electric vehicles someday. We're not quite there yet.
What about from a fuel efficiency standpoint? Given the machine's doing this, they have a steady foot on the pedal, so to speak?
Yes, I mean, the autonomous vehicle makes the machine much more fuel efficient because it's optimally performing to the needs of the task.
And so from a return on investment perspective, I assume it's got some kind of payback?
Yeah, the big economic gain here is with labor shortages, a farmer sometimes can't even find labor to do this type of task. And so if they can't till, that ground is not ready for planting in the spring. And if you don't have that ground ready for planting, you may lose a few days in the spring, which are critical to the ultimate yield potential of the plant. So there is an economic gain here where you're guaranteed that that task gets done so that your crops ultimately can reach their maximum fuel potential. And there is also another benefit to this technology, which is sometimes cannot be measured in dollars. Farming is one of those industries where the job and the lifestyle are one and the same, right? You ask a farmer, what do you do? I farm. Who are you? I'm a farmer. They're both one and the same. So farmers have told us, look, this type of technology will just give me a better quality of life.
Excellent. Well, that's the reason for doing it. So, Julian, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.